South to Djuma in South Africa. Oh, sorry Dave. We've popped in the area where we last had tracks of both Thandi and her cub and have not had any joy there. So gonna head up towards Buffelshoek waterhole. Herbie, one of our excellent trackers, was out after the morning safari tracking down a large male lion called Tino, who's part of a coalition of 4 big males, dominant coalition in this area. And they ended up somewhere around the Gwari, or kind of Gwari Pan, which is close to Buffelshoek waterhole, and there was also some tracks of the Nkuhuma pride in that general area. So we'll hopefully get lucky with some lions shortly, and my plan is to probably not spend too much time with the lion, in the likelihood that they're not going to be up to much on this very hot day, and just keep kind of ping-ponging between the lion, if they're in fact there, and where we are hoping on finding this leopard. Now, just to recap and keep everyone in the loop, late yesterday evening we were with the leopard, but there was no sign of her cub. She called out for it for about 40 minutes, couldn't find it. We were all quite concerned about its health and safety, and thankfully this morning we did find some tracks of that youngster. So it is still alive, that's the good news, or at least it was this morning. Peter, you would like to know what animals kind of I can equate myself and the other crew members to. Well, let me think about that for a second. What would James be? James would have to be something very clever. Not very big, because he's not the biggest human on the planet. Something smallish and clever. So yeah, something. Sheesh, Peter, I'm not actually. My creative juices aren't flowing this afternoon. Don't even know what I'd put myself. Or I'd make myself. I'm also trying to listen to the Game Drive radio at the same time, so I should probably turn that down so I can focus on you entirely. Sounds like Hosanna's up to the north of us in Buffelshoek. He's a young male leopard that a lot of you will be happy to know is out and about, and quite interesting that he is all the way up in Buffelshoek. So, animals for the different presenters and or crew members. Really coming up with complete blanks for everyone. I can't think of anything appropriate that's not rude for anyone. So Peter, I'll continue thinking about that. Why don't you in the meantime tell me what you think all of us are, and then I can work off your base, your foundation of this game. Very good. So like I said, I'm going to continue heading towards some lion. Well, the reports of at least one male lion that was seen a little bit earlier on today, and while I do that, I'm going to send you back up to the Masai Mara with some other lion and Jamie.
It seems as though it's a lion-filled Caturday this afternoon for our sunset safari. Our Megs has asked me to answer the same question that Scott was presented with, and it is a difficult one because one runs the risk of hurting someone's feelings accidentally without even meaning to be insulting. You see, now Scotty D, I feel, with his inexorable charm and good looks, I think would probably have to be some. But you see, it's difficult. I was thinking of one of the handsome male antelope, maybe like an Inyala or something like that, but then I thought, but they don't have that. There's that cheeky grin that Scott is capable of, which makes it slightly more difficult. We've played this game before, and it's a tricky one to play. I've ended up trying to. I always think of Steph as one of those big, powerful birds of prey, personally, and that is, excuse me, when one makes comparisons like that, that is to take out of the mix the reality, because of course, well, actually, birds of prey are quite smart. Certainly not an owl. Maybe something like a batalier or a martial eagle, maybe for Steph. I don't know why I always associate Steph with a keen-eyed bird of prey, Taylor McCurdy. Okay, I confess I absolutely should not have, I don't know why my phone was on, but Taylor's trying to call me, which is terribly cheeky because we're right in the middle of a segment. Right, what was I talking about? I can't remember. What animals we would all be. Adrian, what do you think? James is a difficult one. Something wise. Something wise. It's not that easy. It's not an easy one to do without insulting someone. Taylor, what shall we say for you now that you've showed people all the places I've got stuck and you called me in the middle of a segment? My goodness, what shall we say for Taylor? Alright, I'm going to first of all decide what animal Taylor would be, and second of all see whether or not she has got stuck. Let's send you across to Noelle, who's carrying through with her plan on visiting the various dams.
Alright everyone, we've made it over to Chitwa Dam, and hopefully we'll have the drone up in action shortly for you so that you can get a nice shot. We have it hovering over that tree there. We're just waiting for a little bit of signal, but that's what the drone looks like. So cool. And you can see the camera on the bottom. You see that camera we were talking about yesterday afternoon. So that thing moves and swivels around, and then that's how Seb's able to get the different shots. But as I found out yesterday, he can't in fact put it on top. That would be neat. Or if you could flip the drone like upside down and it could fly upside down, it would be very cool. Oh, our picture for the drone is up. So I think we're just gonna go over to these birds just for a second. We have some blacksmith lapwings and what looks like a three-banded plover over there in the right-hand corner. And then up on top towards the top right-hand corner where the water is, you've got some water thickneys. Everyone's very peaceful there on the edge. And it also looks like, let me just get my binos out. There's the blacksmith lapwings, and there's another three-banded plover over on the left-hand side there. Here we go. So now blacksmith lapwings used to be called blacksmith plovers. They're now lapwings, but the small plover stayed. There's the water thickneys. And then it looks like those prancing calls are just to the right-hand side of those thickneys. Very nice. Adding up to everyone's bird list, hopefully, for the year, for 2018. Alright, now, if we've got picture for the drone, speaking of birds, Seb is flying over the nests that are in the middle of the dam. So there's lots of weaver's nests. There's red-billed buffalo weaver's nests, as well as village, and then there's the eggs from the Egyptian geese. This has to be one of my favorite shots. I really loved our lions yesterday, but the fact that we can see inside the top of that nest where the Egyptian geese have laid their eggs. The symbiosis of that whole dead wood with all of the different nests just blows my mind. You can see that murky, muddy color. Very healthy ecosystem. And then just on the left, oh no, that's okay. I'll go that way if you go back up there. Hippos are there. And we're coming back to our birds that are on the edge of the water. So one of the things that I'm hoping to get whilst we're down here is some elephants. And I can actually, as I say that, I can hear some in the background. And so we're going to sit tight here, and I'm also hoping Hassana pops up. So I think because it's starting to get a little bit later in the afternoon, and because everything needs to come down and have a drink eventually, we're gonna see what we can do in this space. Can you see some Ellies now? Oh, Seb spotted some. Oh my goodness gracious, look at this giant herd of elephants. This is so fantastic. They're gonna come around and drink. We're gonna show you there they are. Oh my goodness, there's like 30 elephants coming down. This is absolutely fantastic. So what I would like to do is I'm going to change the position of our vehicle so that we can get a really nice sort of low down angle as they move across. And then I'm hoping we're going to be able to get the drone moving just now. Oh, listen. Oh, they were trumpeting a little bit. It'll be easier to listen as they come closer. All right, so I'm gonna drive the vehicle down a little bit. And we're gonna go position ourselves for some amazing elephant interaction. Oh, so exciting, exactly what we wanted. See, Seb, I told you there'd be elephants at Chitwa. We got here and Seb's like, Noelle, where are your elephants? I was like, they'll come. All right, we're gonna see if we can get the drone coming through. We're having a little bit of funny tech stuff that's happening just with the audio. So let's try it. Live with the drone. Look at my monitor while I can't look at my monitor while I'm driving. Absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. This is so cool. My new favorite thing. I'm not usually one for technological toys, but I mean this drone is pretty happening. I'm not gonna lie. So half the herd's drinking down at the edge of the water down there, and the other half looks like it might come to the farther part. Sorry, Nikki, just say that again for me, please. Sorry guys, I think I'm having a couple of gremlins. Now, we're going to move around like this over to here, and then I'm thinking, Seb, if we put the drone towards this dead tree here, and I'm gonna go over here, and then we're gonna have, oh, and there's a teeny tiny baby, everyone. There's the teeniest tiny baby. I'm really excited right now. Just gonna come around like this, and then Seb, I think if can we do the drone over here by this dead tree, or do you think that's not gonna work? We're gonna try something, everybody. And we have our what we thought was an albino elephant, everyone. Just here in front, there, can you see where my finger is? If we go back, oh sorry, we're on the drone shot. Sorry everyone, I'm still getting used to the drone and me. I'm very sorry about that. There we go. There we go. Okay, do you see that coloration? You see there, I don't know if it's the exact same. The eye color is not, from what I can see, the same as that other one we saw, but we'll keep our eyes out. And then I'm gonna go quiet for a little bit and see if we can hear. Hope you got some good noises there with all the water movement. Patricia, you're asking how much water does an elephant drink during the day? A full-grown elephant can do about 10 liters of water in its trunk at one time. So if they drink for, I would put it upwards of 200 liters a day. Sorry guys, I just want to move the car a little bit differently, because there's some really awesome hippo action that's happening, but I just want to move us so that we can get everything in a really great angle. So I believe you're back with the drone. Super exciting. There we go. Very, very cool. Okay, so we're back with me, everybody. So just in front here, we've got these elephants that are just here. Can we see? Nikki, we're with me, hey?
Yeah, I'm coming to you now.
That's okay, we're just moving the drone around just a little bit. Just a little bit. And while we're waiting for the rest of the elephants to come down, I think we're gonna head on up to Ralph, just while we move the drone around a little bit and reposition ourselves. So let's go back up to him, and then we'll be back.
Thanks, Noel, and everybody. We've got a lioness here. This is a different one to the earlier one. She spotted a little piggy in the thickets here, and I'm not sure if we're going to get the best view of it, but she has really got the upper hand here because it's starting to rain. So, and she's going very slowly now. This is really, I would say this is a very good chance for her to get things right here. Now, welcome to all the new viewers. We are just in the Masai Mara, in the Mara Triangle to be specific, in Kenya. And my name is Ralph Kirsten, and we're watching this female lioness. She's stalking up on a warthog that has not noticed that she's coming, and it's in the thickets there. I'm hoping that we'll get a clear visual on it. She's very close. She's getting ready to pounce, I think. There she goes. There she goes. Go, girl. Go. There's the chase. Oh, this is going to be close. This pig is a big one, and she's really got every chance of getting it, but it seems to be pulling away, and I think she might have lost it this time. There goes Pumbaa, wins again. Folks, well, she had every chance of getting that warthog, but, well, Pumbaa 1, lion 0. Well done, warthog, and there she now needs to just pack up her bags and maybe move on. That warthog's not going to be gotten now. Raphael, thanks for your comment. Hakuna Matata. Well, yes, exactly. Especially for that warthog today. He lives another day. And, well, the female lioness, she's going to have to be a little bit better. Now, Hekram, thanks for your comment as well. That was so super. It was a real action-packed, close chase, and what a wonderful position that we were in. She was very unlucky not to have got it, and that was unfortunate for her, but very fortunate for the piggy. Now, sorry about that. Don't know what happened there. Sorry, that was just a vehicle that drove past. He was coming up behind us. Obviously also very excited about the action. And there you can also see the rain starting to come down. So thanks everyone for joining us with that really action-packed little action broadcast. This is what happens in the Masai Mara and in the Mara Triangle, to be specific. We're going to keep following these predators because they do need to eat, and I'm sure that she will get one soon. So thanks for joining us, and please don't forget, we're on Safari Live. Okie dokes, everybody. After that little bit of a disappointing end to that chase by the lioness, very happy that the warthog made it, but that's the way it goes in the wild. Let's head you on down south to South Africa, and Noelle, I think she's got something lovely to show you.
Alright everyone, so most of them have come out of the water, and they're now busy here at this mud pan and also standing in the shade a little bit. And we are getting some amazing action here. There's lots of little babies running around. There's swimming, there's drinking. We've put the drone just a little bit off and then kept it in one spot. So someone upset a little baby there, but that's all right. And we've just kept it in one spot, just a little bit farther from them, but so that if we still want to be able to see them from the air, we can definitely still see them from the air. So I believe we are back with the drone. How amazing is that? And you can just see them moving all underneath, some of them having a little bit of a swim. And the shadows, like we talked about yesterday, absolutely fantastic. So because it's a large herd that's actually made up of smaller little herds all together, as you're seeing them move away, you're seeing them move away into their smaller sections. And then what you see when it's drier like this is the herds sort of come together into these bigger herds. Most of the time they're related with each other. And then as we get hopefully more rain, then they're gonna spread out and be in smaller herds as well. Now I'm just trying to get a view. Oh, very nice. Oh, there's how they use the game paths. Thanks for pointing that out, Nikki. So that's how those game paths are formed. And then I'm just trying to get a view of our little, oh, it is the albino elephant with the white eyes. Can we maybe switch back to me quickly? Yep. Okay, do you see, there's the albino elephant there. Now, my friend Izzy got back to me. She thinks it's partial albinism or something like it. And then when it comes away from its mum there, you're gonna see those white eyes that we saw the other day. So now, a lot of you were asking if we'd seen them again. This is the first time that I've seen, there we go, there. Seen this herd with this little one since then. Did we see the eye color just a little bit there? It'll come out again. And hopefully it'll come around the other side of the tree as well. Amazing. There we go. And then it's going to come to the left of the tree just here, along with the rest of the herd. And let's see if we can get another glimpse. Sorry for the antenna there. All of them are going to come walking past. There we go. There's, oh, it got hidden away behind the others. Scarlett, good question. You want to know how far do these elephants travel each day? Scarlett, every day is different. It depends on where the water and the food is. It also depends on where they're coming from. And where they want to go. All right, we're back with the drone as they move away. I'm just moving my vehicle around to a different spot as well. There we are. All right, so there they are moving away. They've had a little drink. One of them sort of got in for a swim, and they did a little bit of mud bathing, but because they've got those little teeny ones with, it feels like today that they don't feel like sticking around too much. So they're going to meander off and go and do a little bit of dust bathing as well as some feeding. It wouldn't surprise me if they've moved through and had water somewhere else as well, and are busy just trying to get to some areas that have possibly better grazing or better browsing. You can see one of the Chitwa vehicles there in the corner. Jay, you're wondering if the matriarch determines which way that the herd goes? That's a definite affirmative there, Jay. She does. She's the one that knows where the good food and water is, and they follow her lead and go wherever she goes. That's how a matriarchal system works. Women's in charge, and she's not just in charge where they listen, but she's also in charge to make sure that the herd survives. Now, if any of you got a screenshot of that partial albino with its mom in the shot, then please will you screenshot that to me, because I want to send it to my friend in the Timbavati that possibly was there. And sorry, Seb's just letting me know now that we need to land the drone soon just because we're running out of battery power. So we're just going to wait for these Ellies to move off a little bit, and then hopefully we'll be able to land. I'm just going to move the car around so that we can still see them. The light's a little bit awkward from this direction. Sorry about that. And I think while we're moving around, let's head back up to Rolfinquinha And I believe he still has lions, if I heard correctly, but I could be wrong. So let's go up there and see what's up.
Thanks, Noel. You are absolutely correct. We're still with this female that had that missed attempt at that very big boar warthog. But she's still on the lookout. You can see she's panting a little bit there from the chase, I would say. We can't see anything in front of her just yet. She might need a little bit of a rest, although that wasn't a massive chase. She did give up quite easily. And I'm starting to lose a little bit of faith in these female lionesses here, because I've only been watching them miss the warthogs. So, as I said earlier, though, they must be catching some of them sometime. But it seems the adult or the boar warthogs are definitely giving them the slip. But I do find that they're not motivated enough, because it's just one or two more power strides and they'd be on top of the warthog. So I don't know if they're a little bit cautious because it is big boars, or if they're actually just not hungry enough. Now, she has just laid down in the perfect spot that we can't really see her. So I think I might just be a little bit naughty and move forward. Dale, you're asking the question if I've ever seen a dwarf lion or any other animal. Dale, I can't say that I have. I have never seen a dwarf lion. I've only seen young ones that are a little bit small, but I've never seen a dwarf one, no. To answer your question. Now, there she is. So, and yes, I don't think dwarfism is a very big thing in nature. I haven't heard much about it at all. I just need to be careful here. It seems like it's a bit of a porcupine warren, so I could literally collapse any second. So I just maybe need to stop right there before I get us stuck with Taylor and Jamie also having vehicle problems. I might need to come to the rescue at some stage, so I'm not going to move anywhere from here. Let's see if she gets up to anything. This is now the second lioness that we've been following for today, and well, one has resulted in a unsuccessful chase. Brody, you want to know what I like about lions, because you like how strong they look. Brody, yeah, I really like it when lions hunt as a team. I'm not blown away by lions when they hunt solo, because as you've seen there, and I've seen it on many occasions, they generally do sort of give up three quarters of the way through the hunt, and I've seen that a lot. But when they hunt together as a team, they are formidable. And so for me, that's what I like about lions: their teamwork and their real ability to almost telepathically know what the other ones are going to do. But when they're alone, I don't know. They're not really even close as successful or as good hunters as leopards are on their own. Lions, I think, through the evolution of them being gregarious and living in big groups, I think they're much better adapted to teamwork than any other cat. They're the only real sociable cat out there. And so that is, for me, the most amazing thing about lions. Starting to rain a little bit more now, as you can see in the background there as well. So we're starting to get a bit wet, but that can be good for the lioness, because as you saw there previously with that warthog, she was able to actually get in so close to it that I can't believe she missed it, because she was within 5 meters. So she really was slow off the mark, and that little warthog ran for his life. As Manu and I were laughing a minute ago, it was like he dropped the clutch and he wheel spun out of there. And I really like to see warthogs at full tilt like that. They almost change shape from this round, fat little pig to almost like an arrow with tusks. It's really nice to see. But anyway, good on the warthog. He managed to get away. But she does look like she's maybe spotted something else. I don't know. she's not really stalking, but she may have spotted something. I'm not quite sure. The only problem is she's going to be heading now onto the other side of this little wooded area as well, and we potentially won't be able to see exactly what's going on. She's just walking slowly. She's not really stalking just yet. As I say that, she seems to be going into a little bit of a stalking pose, but not into an ultimate one. Let's just see. I always want to try and see what she's actually targeting. She'll be a little bit tired now, so I would imagine if she is stalking something, she needs to really now have a proper go at it. Okay, she is stalking, everyone. Look at that. She's really now starting to go for it. Welcome everybody, and we are here in Kenya, in the Masai Mara and the Mara Triangle to be specific. My name is Ralph Kirsten, and we're just watching a lioness who seems to be stalking something. We haven't been able to see exactly what it is, but we just want to sit back and watch the show. She's going very slowly. There's a little bit of rain coming down at the moment, so that will be to her advantage, because whatever it is that she's got her eyes on won't be able to hear her coming. But let's just see. She's just had an unsuccessful attempt at a big boar warthog that she got very close to, but when she pounced, it managed to give her the slip and ran away from her, even though she did try to catch it. But now, if this happens, this would be her second attempt in the last 15 minutes. You can see she is breathing reasonably heavily, not too bad, but she's frozen, almost as if she's just waiting for the right moment. Now you see how she puts her feet down very carefully. She is stalking. Whatever it is, maybe be down a little bit in the ground there, where we can't see. Now, Jefferson, who's watching in Ghana, you're saying this is amazing. It is indeed, Jefferson. Let's see. I really want her to catch something now, because she's been given the slip, and she's obviously hungry, because this is a second attempt in a very short while. So, now, Falco, you're saying that yes, she does look a little bit skinny. She looks like she's quite hungry, and she is lactating as well, so she's got little cubs to feed. Now, she won't be hunting that elephant in the background. Whatever it is a little bit closer than that, and a little bit smaller than that as well. Now, Lee, you want to know which season they breed in? Lee, they're not particularly seasonal. They can give birth any time of year, so there's no real particular time for lions, and it's actually any time of the year. But let's just watch now. She's starting to go again. And unfortunately, I can't get any closer, but I wouldn't want to disturb whatever she's going for anyway. So we're just going to have to wait and see what happens here. As you see those elephants filing through in the background. Now, Ante, you want to know, so she's alone and not hunting in a pack? Well, yes. She is alone. There's 2 female lionesses in this area that are both lactating, feeding little cubs. There she goes again. And so, yes, she is hunting on her own. Let's hope that she comes out from the other side of that tree. She's just gone behind it now. There we go. You can see her now. Come on, girl. You've really put some effort into this one. Now, Lee, sorry, Lee, I'll answer your question in a second. I just want to see, because it looks like she's going down, like she's getting ready to pounce. Now, you want to know, Lee, so how much do they feed, or how often or regularly? It depends on what they fed on previously. If they get a little amount of food, obviously they might have to feed every day. But if they get a nice big fat warthog that they could feed on for maybe 2 or 3 days, and that could last them for up to about 5 days. And it all depends on the size of the prey that they get. she's very intent on what it is. Is that a pig? Yes, it is. There we go. Now we've locked on the target. I think that must be what she's going after. But she does look to be looking off to the side of that. So there's a pig just off to her left, but she's looking straight on. She may have identified some piglets, I wonder. But there is a warthog who looks very relaxed. Now, Karina, you're commenting that you wish you were here in person. Well, Karina, I suppose I also wish you were here, but at least this is the next best thing. This is absolutely live. There is no script here, and we're just waiting to see what happens. It's very exciting, and it is totally natural. We've got a real fight for survival here. The lion needs to eat, and obviously the warthog needs to try and get away from her if it can, if it's awake enough. But we just got to wait and see. Helen, who's watching in Sweden, thanks for your comment and thanks for watching. This is amazing. It sure is. But I just hope that she could possibly get a little bit closer if that's what she's going for, that warthog. I'm sure she's going for a warthog, but whether or not it's that one on the left of her remains to be seen. It doesn't seem like she's been noticed just yet. Now, Regis, you asking how long will it wait before it attacks? Well, she's going to wait for the right moment. You see there, now she's looking off a little bit to her left. I think there's more than one warthog here. I don't know if she maybe only saw that warthog at the last moment, the one on the left. But she's definitely locked onto something. And it takes as long as her patience will let her wait. Because the longer she waits, the better chance she might have, but it all depends on the situation. Maybe the warthog starts walking towards her. Sometimes they can wait too long and they actually blow their cover. But she's gotten this far. She must be quite an experienced hunter. Although she missed the previous warthog, maybe she's waiting just for the right moment now. And she's obviously hungry, so all we can do is wait and see. And as I've said, there is still a little bit of rain coming down, so those warthogs won't be able to hear her coming. Now, Charisse, you want to know, do lions have a preference in the way that they hunt? Well, Charisse, for me, they would have a preference in the more successful way of hunting, and that would be to be in a large pride with lots of members and everybody be taking part in the hunt and forming a real part of the team. However, the larger the team, the more mouths there are to feed. So just think, if she is able to now catch something, she could eat it all on her own. Whereas if she's part of a team, she's got to share it with everybody else. So she'll obviously get a lot less, and she could quite easily also be chased off by one of the males who could keep everything for himself. See how she's raising her head? She's obviously... Ooh, there she goes. There she goes. She might disappear behind the tree, but let's just give her a chance. I wonder if that warthog spotted her. Let's just wait. Come on, girl. There she is. I wonder if that warthog spotted her, because it seems to have disappeared now. Let's just wait until she gets a little bit closer and watch her body language. She's still intent on something there, although her body language has changed slightly now into a more relaxed pose. So I'm wondering if that warthog has made the getaway. Now, Elizabeth, you're commenting that the amount of patience she has is amazing. It is indeed, Elizabeth, but sometimes they can be a little bit too patient, where I think that's exactly what's happened here. She's missed her chance. I think the warthog has spotted her, and it has made its escape. Sorry, girl, you're going to have to be a little bit better than that. And that's now 2 in the last half an hour. she really needs to up her game if she's going to get some food and be able to sustain herself, also for those little cubs that she's obviously suckling at the moment, because we can see she's got quite swollen mammary glands. But that, I think, was definitely an unsuccessful stalk and potential hunt. She's probably also a little bit tired from the previous chase, so that ends there, I believe. Right, thank you for joining us, everybody. That was an absolutely amazing little start and almost finished to a hunt. Unfortunately, she didn't get the warthog. Fortunately for the warthog, well, he gets to live another day. So thanks for joining us. You have been watching Safari Live in Kenya in the Mara Triangle. Okay, everybody, thanks for your patience. We did just do a couple of action broadcasts there with two of these animals. So if you want to see them, you just need to Google Safari Live and check it out on Facebook, and you can watch it there. So I'm going to send you on down to Scott in South Africa and see how he's doing.
Yes, we do have a tree, but it's not just a tree. It's the home of a family of yellow-billed hornbills. And as Dave zooms in, you'll notice there's a small little hole in the tree over there, and we noticed a yellow-billed hornbill flying in to this area. It was about 70 meters away when we spotted it, and we noticed that it did have a kill in its beak, and it fluttered from the tree that we saw it land in all the way across here. And then we heard an almighty commotion as all of the chicks called out in excitement, as I'm guessing one of the adults, I mean, it could be that the mother's still within that hole. The mother does stay within the hole for, I think, about 14 days after the eggs hatch, and then she climbs out and then assists her husband in finding enough food for the growing chicks within that cavity. So we have been here for now 8 minutes since the last meal was deposited to the chicks, and we're doing a little bit of an experiment to see how long it takes before the next meal gets delivered. I find it astounding how the adults can actually fit into a hole that small, and when you look at it, it doesn't seem to have been filled up with excrement. That seems just like the size of the hole. It can't be made any bigger. What they'll often do with slightly bigger cavities is close them up and have almost like a coin slot shape that only their beaks can fit in and out of to pass food between one another. But always astounded how these birds can actually get their way into these holes, at least the adults. Ah, Andy, well spotted. You've noticed a massive piece of bracket fungus off to the left there. Very good. And it's interesting how it really blends in so well with the tree, unless you're looking kind of on that underneath piece. That's a slightly paler shade, but the rest does look very much like the rest of this knobthorn acacia tree. And I wonder how long that piece of fungus has been growing over there. Sounds like you guys have had an awesome time with Ralph and that lioness, especially her first attempted chase. It sounded like it was a close call. Well done to the warthog for escaping. And we've had no joy in finding the male lion that Herbie, our tracker, managed to find sometime between the safaris today, but I'm guessing it's lying up in some shade somewhere. Very good. Well, we're going to stay put, continue with our experiment to see how long it takes for the next meal to be delivered to this clutch of hornbill babies, and send you across to Noel for an update.
we've got quite a lot happening now. We've got our little hippos that are here in front of us, well, little and big hippos. The large elephant herd has moved off. We have an elephant bull that's making his way slowly around, and then we also have a huge herd of waterbuck that's come down to drink on the water. So we've got quite a bit. So we're gonna play around with our cameras and the drone and see what we can get for everybody. Now these little hippos that are in the water, for anyone that might be new to watching our show, we love hippos, and we see hippos whenever we sort of come to Chitwa Dam or sometimes up at Bivelshoek Dam. And then they also get a lot of hippos up in the Mara. And they have a very permeable skin. They lose the most moisture through their skin than any other mammal. Land mammal, yeah, mammal, as far as I know. And that's because they've got a very thin top layer skin, their epidermis, and it's also very sensitive. Would hippos ever attack elephants is, I believe, the question you asked, Red. And as far as I know, and from what I've seen, they haven't attacked hippos, but I have seen, I would say attacked elephants, but I have seen them trying to chase elephants away from the waterhole itself at various different places that I've worked. And earlier, when all of the Ellies were coming down to drink, they were porpoising and showing off and, you know, scent marking and trying their best to chase them away, and the elephants just ignored them. But I've never seen them actually attack. I'm wondering, Seb, do you think we can get this angle with the waterbuck just to the right? I'm just going to duck my head down a little bit and we can try. It might not work. It might be too close to the corner. Let's see what we can do. Our camera's on this really cool pivot at the back. And there we are. Beautiful herd of waterbuck coming down. Waterbuck of all various different sizes. There's also some impala with them, and I've noticed that most species, when they're coming from this angle, drink right here at this spot, and then when they're in the inflow of the dam, the other side of the dam, there's a little spot that they hit, but this particular spot seems to be an access point that they all enjoy. It's nice and open when they come down. They can see all the way around. That's beautiful. Very furry, the waterbuck. And notice they drink and then move away and then come back and drink and then move away. They don't want to drink for too long because something like a crocodile could launch itself out and possibly eat them. And we have two very, very large crocodiles here at this dam. I haven't quite seen one yet, but we are keeping our eyes open for them. Now we're going to try with the drone to see if we can get a nice shot of these waterbuck. Here we go. So we are staying a little bit higher than we were with the elephants. But you can see them there, and you can also see how there's very little vegetation growing around where they come to drink, and that's because so many animals use that spot, as we were talking about now, that it makes it very hard for the vegetation to grow. And you'll actually see that with any very well-used water hole. Dancers, you're saying waterbuck are just so pretty, and I would agree. They are very pretty. I enjoy the male waterbucks. Male waterbucks are one of my favorite antelopes to look at. They're fuzzy and they're quite thick, and then they've got those big, beautiful horns. There was one male that I saw coming down. I just haven't seen him again yet. He's following around these females. And then now they've had their little drink, and now they're going to go back and feed a bit more. And then probably stay in this open area for the rest of the afternoon and into the evening, because it makes them feel nice and safe. All right, now I believe Taylor is still up in the Mara and is enjoying herself, so I think let's head on up to her so that she can have a little chat with you and show you what she's experiencing up that side.
I'm always is up for a good DNC drive and chat, except I'm not driving because Jamie is towing me. Sorry, I'm watching the tow line to make sure I don't get too slack. Right, I don't know what's happening in my car. Something to do with the starter motor, but I don't know what's going on. There's Adrian waving back. Look, I'm saying my audio. Is that better, Craig? Amy's doing thumbs up, so I'm just going to do a thumbs up back at her. So this is not the first time you've seen me in this situation. Perhaps you can pull up some screenshots when my knight in shining armor in the form of Connor came to rescue me down at Chitwa Dam. That was a fun day. That was I enjoyed that actually, being towed home. But this time I'm not being towed home by a knight in shining armor. I'm being towed home by a princess in a great green truck, really. And it's lots of fun. So now I can say that I have been towed in Kenya in the Mara too. Hey, how's that? I added towing list of places that I've been stuck and needed to be towed out of. Though I wasn't stuck, not the Marshmallow Queen, but yes, just broken. But hopefully Mila will be up and ready. You were doing so well. I was paying you way too many compliments today, Mila. I see where I fell short, so I won't be paying her too many compliments. Anyways, we are heading towards Olololo Gate. We've got like 10 minutes to go before the gate closes. Will we make it? I don't know. It's going to be a long tow home. Scott, however, is playing the patience game, which he's actually really good at, surprisingly. So let's go down across to him and see. I don't know why he's playing the patience game.
Predicament as poor old Taylor and Jamie. And let's hope that whatever problem is with that vehicle is not too serious and can be fixed as soon as possible. So we have been here for now approaching 20 minutes. We've been here for exactly 17. Oh, here we go. Perfect timing. Let's just stay. Oh, now this is interesting. One of the adults flew towards the tree and then obviously got a little bit of a fright from us. And I was flown back and landed in another dead tree not too far away from here. Did you see where it landed there, Dave? It's somewhere. If you keep zooming in, it's somewhere in the lower branches on the right-hand side of that dead tree. So if you go more to the right, it's got some more limbs. There we go. You've got it in the frame. Oh no! We just missed another adult come in and feed. So you may have heard a squawk there, and one adult very quickly flew in and popped a morsel into the chicks, and that obviously means that both adults are out the nest now. We can't see. Oh, here it is sitting here, Dave, just above us here. You should be able to get it. Busy cleaning its beak. Not the best view, but this is the one of them. And it's interesting that they both came back at the same time. So they're obviously both hunting in the same spot. And I'm sure it won't take the other one too long now to come back and also feed the chicks. Let's have a quick look at that other one now, because it seems to be doing something. I just want to make sure if it's not actually eating whatever it caught. Is the branches in the way? A little bit to the right. On that kind of little right hand at the top of your screen, Dave, it's sadly behind some bushes, but it's there. We can just see its beak poking out. So I just want to see if it's still got a kill. No, it looks like it decided to gobble up that kill for itself. You can now just see it cleaning its beak. Huh. So, no joy. We failed with what we set out to achieve. After all that time. We got tricked by the fact that we weren't expecting two of them to arrive back at the nest site simultaneously. Well, the good news is at least we've found this nest, and I'm currently trying to get a shot of two of these yellow-billed hornbills together, ideally calling. It's a top secret mission. That's all I can tell you. What the shot we're trying to get, not why or what for. And I fear that these guys aren't going to be too active regarding calling just yet because it's still quite hot, and usually they like to call first thing in the morning and as the sun is setting in the evening. So we might have to come back here and try and get these two singing a duet. We're going to head off now and keep searching for any sign of Tundi, a leopardess, and send you back up to the Mara with Ralph.
Alright everyone, I'm not Ralph, as you know, I'm Noelle. But we're back with me, so we're just busy packing up the drone, and then I think we're going to go drive around the open areas of a quarantine there, while Scott goes has a look for Tundi, and then we'll see about maybe being able to find some lions or some leopard around the side, but I'm also still on the lookout for some zebra. We were looking for zebra earlier this morning, specifically for Tesla, for a little baby zebra, so I'd like to try and get that on screen. And I also haven't seen zebra in a few days. That would be nice, and it's a good time of the afternoon for them to be moving around in that open area. It's also a really great place to find elephants feeding on marulas, and I would like to see if we can maybe get some nice up-close views of them doing that, especially with their two little lips that they have at the end of their trunk to be able to pick up those little fruits. Now, what I'm doing here is I'm just handing Seb the little bungee cords that help hold, what are we calling the drone now?
Melvin, no?
Melvin the matrice. Melvin the matrice. And then while I drive, I also have to hold on to Melvin in case it gets bumpy. So we're going to try that. We're going to go across the dam wall now and then head on over. And then I think we need to cross fingers and hold thumbs that Hassana pops up, but I think our first goal is going to be baby zebra, our second goal is going to be elephants feeding on marulas, and then our third goal is going to be someone like Hassana. I haven't really heard any updates from the guides this side. I think a lot of things have pushed over into Little Gowrie, which is just to our west here. And I think tonight we're going to have a really great sunset. We've got just a few clouds, not that heavy bank of clouds, and then the sun is obviously out because it's daytime. So in the next sort of hour or so, we should be getting some really beautiful, beautiful colors. All right, Marvin the Matrice. It's amazing, so much action at the dam and then quiet. And then I'm sure there's some more action that will happen a little bit later. And the temperature has dropped nicely, which is good for everybody, animals and humans alike. Now, sometimes we talk about, we've got Nikki's favorite birds flying around. So we've got Megs in final control up in the Mara, and then we've got Nikki in final control here in Djuma, and then just in front of me here we've got little bee eaters. And because the temperatures dropped nicely, they're going to be flying about looking for their meals. Oh, that's beautiful. And see that long beak? Not quite an overcurve, but just at the end of it curves down a little bit, and that helps them pick up flying butterflies, daytime moths, bees, wasps. I've also seen them going for the winged alights.
I need your hat.
Oh, is my hat in the way? I'm so sorry, Seb. I'm ducking down, everybody. Sorry about that. There we go. I think we need to come up with a collective noun for little bee eaters. You guys can think on that one and let me know what you would call a collective of little bee eaters. Let's be creative about it. What's behind them there on the right-hand side? Is that a green-winged petilia? Looks like a green-winged petilia. Another one for the birdless. Sorry, I'm trying not to... Yeah, beautiful it is. It's a little green-winged petilia. It used to be called a Melba finch. I actually prefer Melba finch over green-winged petilia, but still beautiful. Not one that we get on camera very often. They usually fly around and hide in the thick bushes. We don't get to see them that much. So this is a beautiful shot. Can we hear them chirping? Beautiful bird sounds there, everyone. All right, now Ralph is out and about still in the Mara, so let's head on up to him. I always love to hear what Ralph has to say. He's also one that has very good humor and makes some good jokes. Maybe he's got a Chuck Norris joke for all of you.
you, folks. Well, it's been an absolutely wonderful afternoon sunset safari. I think we could have called it a red letter day. It was, for me, an absolutely wonderful start to the morning and the afternoon. This morning we had wonderful sightings on my side with the hyena den, and this afternoon with 2 lions potentially hunting, the second one trying her best. Well, I don't think she did actually try her best, with 2 warthogs, but what could have been better than that? Maybe if she had have killed them, but oh well, let's give the day to the warthogs, I would say. So it's 1 up for the warthogs, and we'll have to see tomorrow. If we see them tomorrow, they'll probably still be quite hungry, so that'll be interesting and really well worth following then as well. Now we're starting to make our way up the Olololo escarpment. Luckily we haven't been showered upon by the very big storm that seems to have dissipated quite a lot, and normally as we go up the hill here we start to see the baboons, and there's a lot of buffalo bulls that are also hanging around. And so everybody, thanks for joining us here in Kenya. This is pretty much a wrap for us as we head on home up on top of the Olololo escarpment. But we'll get to do it all again in the morning. In the meantime, let's head you on back to South Africa, and Noel has got something nice to show you.
So exciting, we've got carmine bee eaters. I've been hoping and hoping and hoping that they would pop up so that we can show them to all of you. Now, they're not in their bright colors like they usually are when they're breeding, which would have happened farther north from us, but they still have that beautiful blue on the top of their head. Sorry, Marvin's making noises. No. We're just going to turn him off a little bit. And that electric blue head, and then they're usually this sort of fuchsia pink around the body, and then that little black bird that's just to the left there is a little fork-tailed drongo. Basically what these carmines are doing, it's landed down here near the little termite mounds that are out here. They've just landed here along with some starlings. Yeah, there. Perfect. So there's termites that are busy coming in and taking that dung and digesting the dung from underneath. They're bringing it down into their fungus gardens. But then because it's getting a little bit cooler, there will also be some ant activity that's down there. So the carmines are busy flying down and then coming back up and flying down and coming back up. And also probably attracted by the starlings that are down there that are also digging around. I'm very excited. This is a great one to put on our bird list for the year. Scotty D is saying he's very upset he hasn't seen any this season. Scotty D, yay, we've got the carmines back. Now, one of the reasons why I think we're seeing the carmines here in Chitwa, that big storm we had the other night where we actually had to close down a little bit and we had to rush home, and then we came back out a little bit later where the lightning hit that tree and we got that diker. Here on Chitwa they got a lot of rain, and south of us in Ulasaba they got a lot of rain. We actually didn't get that much rain. So I think the carmines have now been attracted to this part and have come from a little bit farther north from where we are and are moving down. It's really exciting. There's also some elephants that I just saw briefly that were walking through here. So I think what we might do is I'm going to move forward and let these guys come past us on the dam wall, and then we'll go have a look at those ellies that are coming. And whilst I'm doing that, I think let's head on over to Scotty D.
Yes, well done, Noel. It's quite interesting how we haven't seen any carmine bee eaters just yet. I saw a pair within the first week of December on Buffelshoek on our northern boundary, and haven't seen any since then. Didn't get to share that with you though, so this is definitely the first sighting that all of you guys would have got to see of a carmine bee eater this summer, so that's exciting. Just here's some Franklin freaking out. Drip, 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 brak, 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 break. Something like that. And this is the area where I'm hoping to find some sign of Tundi, a leopardess. Her tracks came along this road last night with the cub, and then drop down into the Milwaukee, and that's the last place we had their tracks. We seem to think she may have headed back to the kill after that, after she stashed the cub. She wouldn't have just, you know, given up on that meat that she left there, but obviously Tinyo did come and steal it, a big male lion. Who knows whether she saw that? She could have been spying on you and Tristan while you were enjoying that sighting, but maybe with a little bit of luck she's going to be coming out of these thickets just ahead of us. Maybe that's what the francolin saw. Tricky thing with certain animals like francolins, they can get a fright from a lot of different animals, not just a leopard. Lots of birds of prey will scare them, slender mongoose, snakes. So not the most reliable, but whenever you are searching for something and you do hear a francolin let off its alarm, it is better than nothing, I guess. It's something that could mean that there's a predator around, hopefully the one that we are looking for. The first confirmed sighting we actually had of Tandi's cub was also just down on our left here, so it's an area she's very familiar with. The problem is that the lions moved all through Djuma last night, and not just the Inkuhuma pride but also male lion, and that's going to be causing this leopard to be quite nervous, and that's why she would have moved that cub away from the kill. There's just been too many other predators and threats around. Very good. Well, we're going to continue snooping about. Hopefully we'll come up with some good news shortly, and we'll send you back to Noel with some elephants.
We found some more of our ellies. I think they were down in Hosanna's haunt behind the dam wall and have been rolling in some mud. And now they've managed to come, well, this one didn't get as much mud as the other one we were looking at, but they did get a bit of mud on them. And then James Richard, you're saying that the carmine bee eaters are one of your favorite migratory birds, and you're super happy right now. I'm also ecstatic as well, James Richard, and I'm glad that you've got that one for 2018 ticked off the list, and just nice to see them. If anyone ever gets a chance to go to parts of Botswana or in Zambia and South Luangwa National Park and see the carmines coming down and doing their nesting, it is one of the most magical things you will ever see. Also a very good place, South Luangwa, to see loads of elephants coming down to the river and swimming across the river. Oh, wonderful. So now, for anyone that's new that's watching us, we have elephants have 6 sets of teeth throughout their life. Yeah. So those 2 little tush that you see there are your 2 front teeth. They're the incisors. Then at the back they've got molars, one on top, one on bottom on either side, that rotate through like a conveyor belt. And so what they're doing with these leaves right now is they're pulling them off with their trunk, sticking them in their mouth, and then there's a ridge on top of the tooth, and they're busy sort of rolling it along those ridge and crushing it and then eating it. Now they only digest about 25% of what they eat, sometimes a little bit more, up to about 40-45%, but it's not anything more than that. It usually sticks around 25-30%. And so times like this, and that hopefully you're going to start going to the marula trees this herd, because I can see lots of marulas around, they will go and move from marula tree to marula tree. If you were ever lost in the bush, you can actually pick through their dung, because they don't digest a lot of it, and that also has to do with the way that their tooth structure is, not just the way that their digestion works. It's a bit of both stuck together. Anyway, you can pick through their dung and pull out whole marulas and actually eat those if you needed to. Elephant dung is also really good for getting rid of headaches, of migraines. You ingest it, you have to eat it, but it's the dried one, not the fresh one. Thank goodness. And then it's also really good for making paper. I've made paper out of rhino dung and out of elephant dung. It makes really gorgeous paper. Hear them moving through the bushes a little bit there. In fruit, I have a feeling that some of the ones farther in the back might be in fruit, because that's where they all seem to be heading. Here's a young marula tree here, so you get a male marula tree and a female marula tree. The females are the ones that produce fruit, the males do not. Although there's been some discussion around the producing of fruit with marula trees amongst some of the guides here at Safari Live on camera, as well as some of my friends that work in other places. Now, something that I found interesting, when we get very, very heavy rains, I've actually seen marulas producing 2 sets of fruits. I saw it in 2012 after we had the really big floods, and then in 2013 after the really big floods as well. I don't think we're going to necessarily get that this year because we desperately need rain. Tristan and I were actually chatting about it this morning. To sort of make it through winter, I'm saying that we need about 300 mils, but to recover from our drought from last year, we probably need about 1,000 mils to drop. And because we're ending towards the end of our rainy season now, it's going to be a little bit difficult, but there's predicting some late rain, so hopefully it will happen. All right, our Ellies have moved on, and so I think we will move on as well and keep investigating and looking around. Ooh, go ahead, Nix. I'm waiting for your question about bee eaters. Sophia, you're saying, what about a hive of bee eaters? I like it. I like it. A hive of bee eaters. I think with the carmines, I would probably go with a coloration of carmines. That would be mine. Ashley, good question. You are asking if there's a difference between the carmines and the other bee eaters. So Ashley, I'm going to get out my trusty bird book and go to B for bee eaters. All right. Okay. Bee eaters, yay. We'll start at the top. So this is a European bee eater that flies down to us in summertime. It's also a migratory bird. Beautiful, gorgeous, used to be called a golden-backed bee eater. They're smaller than those carmines. And then the little bee eater, which is down here in the corner, is the smallest of them all. That's even smaller than the European. So it's about this big. What do you think that is, Seb? About 8 centimeters? Maybe a little bit taller. They're closer to 15 centimeters. And then the southern carmine bee eater is up at the top here, which is larger than the little and the European. The southern carmine is about 26 centimeters. All right, so the differences have to do in colorations, also has to do in where you would find them. So we get southern carmine bee eaters here. We don't get this rosy bee eater that's below us. That you're going to get farther north of southern Africa. The swallow-tailed bee eater, we do sometimes get here, but very, very, very rarely. You actually find this more west of where we are, where I used to work in the northwest province in South Africa, near Botswana, the southern border of Botswana. We used to get swallow-tailed bee eaters quite a bit. And then the Boehm's bee eater that's down here in the corner we also don't get, and that also occurs more north of southern Africa. So there's the rosy bee eater and the Boehm's I haven't seen yet. If we go back this side, we get the white-fronted, which is down here in the corner, and the white-fronted and the littles stay here all year round. Okay, they're constantly with us. Then the white-throated bee eater is seen from time to time in our area around here, and has been seen, I think, once this year, if I remember correctly. Tristan heard someone seen it. I haven't seen this one. This is on my list for sure. As is the olive bee eater, or the Madagascar bee eater, which occurs more sort of northwest corner of Namibia, and then up into the northeast corner of Mozambique. So I also haven't seen that. Then the blue-cheeked bee eater is another one that comes to us that's migratory. So the European blue-cheeked carmine are ones that we'll see that will come migratory down, and you can see here how they're in red here on the distribution maps. That means that they're summer visitors. There we go. And we are, I need like a little stick or something. I've got a little stick, stand by one. We are roughly there, at the edge of that little stick, to give you an idea. Teeny tiny map of South Africa. So these two dots are showing you Joburg and Pretoria, and then this over here is Mozambique, this is Zimbabwe, this is Botswana, and this is Namibia. All right. just to give you guys an idea. All right, then if we come down a little bit farther down, this one is a green map. So this one means that the white-fronted is for the white-fronted bee-eater. That means that it's here all year round, and it's a solid green, not a light green, so it means it's something that we see often. Very cool. Ooh, Wendy. So the white-fronted and the little bee-eaters will nest in our summertime. So now, the carmines nest in South Luanga end of August, beginning of September, but it changes because they migrate down. And then they nest sort of from Zambia and then up a little bit higher and a little bit parts of Botswana, and then when they're done and their babies have fledged, then they come down farther south to us. That's usually their nesting time. Oh, and Hwangi. Yeah, Joy, you're asking if the bee-eaters would be in Hwangi. Are you going to be going to Hwangi is my question to you, because I'm jealous. I haven't been yet. And then, yes, you'll see the bee-eaters in Hwangi for sure. So Hwangi is in Zimbabwe. So places I would like to visit would be Hwangi. Also, what's the other, they also pronounce it another way? Hwanki. Yeah? Yeah. And then Monopools is on the tip top of my list. But in Hwangi, there's platforms that you can book out. You have to book them like a year in advance. And you sleep out on these platforms, and they're near little water holes. And then, you know, you basically sit up in your platform with your sleeping bag and things, and then lions come and elephants come. Oh, I would absolutely love it. So I definitely need to make a trip up there for sure. You're asking if the different bee-eaters have different calls. Paula, that is 100% correct. They all have different calls. Some of them sound very similar, but yeah, you can tell, like when they're flying around, especially the European sounds different from the white-fronted, sounds different from the blue-cheeked, sounds different from the carmine. The blue-cheeked and the carmine are more similar in call. I don't have my iPad with me today, but Scott might have his bird calls on if he has his phone with him, and maybe we can ask him to play some bee-eater calls for you. I have a new cell phone. I haven't downloaded my Roberts onto there yet, but it will happen at some point. Now we're up into the areas where I was hoping to find these zebra, and I'm not actually seeing anybody. I wonder where they've all gone. Or maybe they're still busy in the thick foliage. You never know. We'll go check around here a little bit. To be fair, I also haven't seen any zebra tracks yet. And I feel like we haven't seen wildebeest in forever. We need some wildebeest zebra love down here. Just checking quickly for anything that might have lurked through the day. Alright, now Scott's still looking for Tundi, so let's head on over to him, and hopefully he's got his phone with him and can do some bee-eater calls for you, and we'll see you all just now.
Yes, still looking for Tundi, and yes, still I do have my phone on me. So, we shall start with the southern carmine bee-eater's call. I'm holding it close to my hat because there's a speaker in it. Very nice. Okay. Oh, how do we stop that? So that was the southern carmine bee-eater, the very pretty one. Let me show it to you. Beautiful. That's the one that Noel's just shown you. Very, very pretty. Very good. Now you got the little bee-eater as well with her, so let me play you its call. A bit of a Neanderthal, so... Genoeg, which means enough in Afrikaans. And then another one is the European bee eater, and they've got the favorite, or my favorite call of the bee eaters that we see in this neck of the wilderness. This one's calling quite frantically, to be honest. Good. And like I said, this is my favorite call of the bee eaters. It's not my favorite one necessarily, but it is very pretty. Let me just tilt my phone to get the nice colors. Very, very fancy. And it's called the European bee eater because it comes all the way from Mediterranean Europe to enjoy the South African summer. Marvelous. There's so many different types of bee eaters that you get throughout Africa, and they're quite widely spread, and you get some really, really cool ones, especially in and around Central Africa. There's a few forests where you only find that are where you get these endemic bee eaters. So, something that I look forward to seeing at some point of the life. Bang bang, you'd like to know if bee eaters will follow honey guides in order to try and find bees that they can feed on. Not that I've ever heard of. I've heard of honey badgers following honey guides, because even though bee eaters will feed on bees occasionally, it's definitely probably not the bulk of their diets. They eat all flying insects, whether it's butterflies or mantids, or I mean there's a million different types. And I guess their somewhat misleading name can also be related to the kingfishers. Most of the kingfishers that we get in South Africa don't hunt fish, they hunt insects. So a good example again of how names can be misleading. And then even the ones that do eat fish, they won't be strictly limited to fish only. So I've never heard of that happening. I guess it may happen. I wonder actually how many bees a bee eater eats on an average day compared to other insects. You'll probably find very few. Obviously, because they fly so quickly and catch their prey so quickly and gobble up generally quite small prey, it's difficult for us to be certain of what goes on. So I'm just kind of driving past some of the old haunts where Thandi has stashed her little cub away, this being one of them. So we're just going to pull in here and just make sure they're not relaxing in an old spot that they're familiar with. Megs, you'd like to know if we ever see African wildcats. I've never seen one in the Sabi sands. Saw one in the Mara actually, which took us by surprise, one TV show. So even though they do occur in this general area, we don't see many of them, serval or caracal. There are some areas in Africa where it's great to view them though. The Kalahari is one of those places. But not here, nor the Mara really. The Mara has at least given us an opportunity to view serval. So it's helped put the serval on the map with us here at Safari Live, but it's not much else. And I'm worried if I go any further down into this dip we're not going to have any signal, so we'll call it quits here. And we did actually walk this little riverbed from that direction, which is the direction she would have moved into this area from her last tracks, and there was no sign of her coming here this morning. We did many a circle. It'd actually be interesting we should carry some kind of GPS to tell us how far we walk every day. Of course it'll fluctuate greatly, but it would be interesting to know. Matt, you would like to know whether or not Thandi would need to find a new den site. And Not really, Matt, because this cub is at an age where it actually doesn't need a den. It just needs somewhere safe to be stashed. And there's a million places where a little baby leopard can hide out here. Of course, when they're very young and vulnerable, it's good for them to be in a kind of a cavity of sorts or a cave. But at the age that it is now, which is about 3 months of age, we're guessing, we're not too sure when it was actually born, but we've got a kind of rough idea. The rough guess is somewhere around the 10th of November, but it could have been a week or two either side of that, as far as I'm aware. So she's just going to be moving the cub into areas where she doesn't feel there's many other predators and threats, like prides of lion that are moving around. So I think now more than ever we don't necessarily need to look in den-like areas, but just kind of anywhere where she decides to stash the cub before she goes on her next hunts. Having said that though, there is a chance that she would like to stash the cub in a familiar place where she knows she has stashed it before, if she is in that area. So I don't know if that made any sense, Matt, but hopefully you get the drift. Well, Nex, apologies for calling you Megs earlier, but I'm very happy that you're surprised by the fact that I answered your question. And yes, this is the joy and the reality of being on a live safari. We don't answer everyone's questions all the times, but we do get through as many of them as we can. And if this is your first time joining Nex, a very, very warm welcome. It's important, you know, we do this twice a day, and sometimes we do some unscheduled broadcasts. I like to call them safari bulletins in between those, so it's best to follow us on Facebook as well. This is a red-billed hornbill, and it is busy cleaning its feathers. It was busy digging around a pile of elephant poop before it flew up into this tree, so a good thing that it is having a bit of a preen. Alrighty, well, we're going to send you from one feathered bird that is a predator in itself to another one.
Alright, so we're sitting here with this bird of prey that would like to eat the bird that Scott was just looking at, and it just made a call that I'm not familiar with. I was saying that this was a Wahlberg's, but the call didn't sound like a Wahlberg's to me. So I'm just having a quick look at something with the... Can we zoom? There, could we hear that? I don't think this is a Wahlberg's. I am trepidatious to say this, but I actually think it might be a lesser spotted eagle. But again, I don't have my bird calls with me. And if it is a lesser spotted eagle, it's going to be my first one. Is Tristan an FC, Nikki? He's not. Okay, guys, we're going to have to leave this as something that I have to look up. That call does not sound Wahlberg's. It could just be a funny Wahlberg's call that I don't know, because not all of the call scenarios are full.
I've got it on my phone if you want.
Do you have it on your phone, Seb? I want to see if we can get a little bit closer. I just want to be able to have a little bit of a different look, because I'm seeing some white that we usually don't see on Wahlberg's. Please don't fly away. Please stay where you are. Yeah, if there's any birding viewers that are out there, let me know what you all think. Don't fly away, stay where you are. Trying to creep up on birds is very difficult. I'm doing my best. Creeping up and holding our drone. Ah, there we go. The only thing we can't see from here is that white that we were seeing on the wings from farther back. He's there. Sorry, let me use my other hand. He's here.
Oh, okay.
You know, with where that sear is coming to the mid of the eye, that's originally why I called it a Wahlberg's. So Seb has his phone that's here. Let's try this call. This is the lesser spotted eagle call. It's obviously not the call we were hearing just now. Okay, and then let me try and find the Wahlberg's quickly, because I could just be having... Oh, there's no call for the Wahlberg's on this. Interesting. No, it's okay. It's not your fault, Seb. Interesting. Okay. Well, look, my gut instinct in the beginning said Wahlberg's with the size and the way that the sear comes to the mid of the eye and everything. There was just a little bit of white that was on the back end there, and then that call that was throwing me off. I'm going to actually see if we can creep around to the other side. Manu, you're also thinking it's a Wahlberg's. I just want to show you this white part, possibly. I think maybe that might be a okay angle there, Seb? Yeah. So remember, myself and Scott and all the guys out here, we know lots, but you know, you can't know everything. And so we do run into scenarios sometimes like what's happening now, and then we just take a little bit extra time. Sorry, Nikki, I missed. James was asking, what about the crop? I can't see that well from here. You see the white bits that I'm talking about there? And then I just want to, after we have a look there, I just want to show you on the lesser spotted what I was looking at. But no, you know what, the sear is wrong. I think it's a Wahlberg's, and I'm just having a moment, everybody. And it's just doing a bit of a call that I haven't heard before, nor am I used to. If I haven't heard before, I wouldn't be used to. That's, yeah. If we, Seb, if you just want to come to the book for a minute. Do you guys see here? Ivan, you're wondering if it's a brown snake eagle. I've heard a couple things. One, the snake eagles don't have feathers that go all the way down the legs. This one has feathers that go all the way down the leg. And also it's a bit too small for a brown snake eagle. But look, a brown eagle, we're definitely in a brown eagle. Do you see how the sear here comes more towards the back of the eye, not fully? You see that? And then, there we go. And then here's the Wahlberg's. See where the sear goes there towards the mid of the eye. So, and then obviously the feathers coming down the legs. So, steppe eagle, good question, Willow Wanderer. So Wahlberg's is about 55 to 60. A steppe is 70 to 84 centimeters. A steppe is also quite a large bird, larger than the one that we're looking at here. But that's also not a bad call. But then check the gape. Here, sorry, I kept calling the gape the sear. Sorry, I'm losing my mind today. The gape, the sear is actually this part. The gape's over here. Sorry about that. The gape also goes to the back of the eye. Guys, I think it is definitely a Wahlberg's, and I think that with that call and then just a little bit of funny coloration on the back there, I got a little bit overexcited. But yeah, still fun, and it's still fun to do birding with all of you. And check out our books. We don't... Amazingly, it hasn't really moved that much. Yeah, super relaxed. Thanks for all your help, everybody. I enjoy that. It's nice having interaction with all of you, as always. There's a breeze now. So we're gonna check the dam again and see what's up there, but we're a little bit farther from... Be there in a couple of minutes. I'm just having... Oh, more elephants. Hello. There we go. That light's actually really pretty. And they've also been rolling in the mud. Ooh, maybe they'll dust bathe for us? No. Oh, beautiful. Gorgeous. And cooling down as they go along. We're doing well with the elephants today, everybody. She's looking a bit pregnant. And her youngster is old enough for her to be pregnant as well. There's usually about a 4 to 6 year difference between pregnancies. So she's pregnant for about 22 months, and then she nurses for 24 months, sometimes up to 3 years. So her little ones, she'll have a baby, and then when that baby is about 3-ish, she'll get pregnant again, and then sometimes 2, depending. Sometimes as old as 4, again, depending. And then she'll get pregnant again, and keep doing that for a good portion of her life. Most of the species out here, from the time that they're able to have babies, so buffalo, elephant, Nyala, impala, just keep having babies during their normal cycle until they're not able to have babies anymore, and then they pass on, and then their children will do the same thing. It's quite a, sorry, we just got a little bit of a ravine on the side here. It's quite a continuous process, and that's also to make sure that the species keeps propagating correctly. There's a squirrel with a nut. Ooh, one real human. You've asked a very interesting question. We've got one little lazy squirrel here, and then to the back side, to the right hand side, we've got a squirrel that's got a little nut. Well, sorry, what was the name of the guest, the viewer again there next? There, we've got eating a little nut there. One world human, I believe. Was one real human. You're asking what kind of butterflies we have here. We have African monarch butterflies. We've got citrus swallowtails. We have Charaxes. We have so many. I can definitely move a little bit more forward. We have so many different types of butterflies, but because, there we go. Because we haven't had as much rain as we would like, we haven't actually seen as many butterflies as we normally see in the year. We need a bit more moisture. This is very cool with this squirrel.
Mm-hmm. It's a baby or no?
Oh, I think...
the ears will...
Yeah, the ears will be... I don't think it's fully grown, but I don't think it's a baby. Look how it turns it around. No, it's not a baby. It has some definite adult parts there. I think this is some of the best squirrel footage that I've had on Drive. Are we recording, Seb?
I'm recording.
Seb reads my mind. I actually should stop asking Seb questions because he always preempts me. He reads my mind. I believe the question was, what kind of squirrel is this? And it is a tree squirrel. We get one type of squirrel in this area, tree squirrels, and then when you go... Dances with Dirt was the name of the viewer. Thank you so much for the question. So this is a tree squirrel. And then when we go farther west into more arid areas in South Africa, and then up north into places like Botswana and in Namibia, you also get ground squirrels. And then where I was working up in Zambia, we had tree squirrels and sun squirrels. I'm not sure what kind of different squirrels they have in the Mara. We must remember to maybe ask them tomorrow morning when they're back with us. Look at the grooves on the flesh of this fruit from the teeth. He definitely knows he's being watched.
They definitely listen to ACDC.
Earlier, for anyone that wasn't with us earlier we were discussing what music different animal species would like, and Seb and Jamie said that elephants would like jazz, and I said they would like AC/DC and Guns N' Roses, and now Seb's watching the squirrel and saying the squirrel definitely likes AC/DC. I can see the squirrel rocking out to AC/DC.
Mm-hmm.
Shame you're not sharing with your mate there, buddy. He's hogging all the food. So once he's finished eating, then he's going to drop that the shell where it is, and then sometimes they'll take nuts and fruits and things like this and cache them inside of holes in trees and save them for later. Lorena, you're saying what odd ears? Yeah, I think because we're so nice and close. Oh, it's a marula fruit. It's already taken the nuts out. It's just eating the outside. Can you see that hole where its hand is? That's where the nut for the marula goes. And he's eaten that part out, and now he's just eating the outside bits. So there would have been either green or yellow flesh around that, which has obviously already come off. He's just getting the last little bits. I think he's also just the way that he's sitting and how close up we are. The ears are looking rather different from how we're used to seeing them. And also we don't really get squirrels sitting this long for us. I wonder if he's managed to get the nut on the other side out as well. I think that's what he's doing right now. Those nuts are super tasty. I think Scott ate or found one the other day and ate one. Or I can't remember if it was the fruit or if he actually got the nuts out. Nix was saying that it was the fruit last time, but in the past he's also eaten the nuts. It takes a while. You need a Leatherman to help get those little nuts out. It takes a little while to get them out. And as you can see with the squirrel, it's using its bottom teeth there to dig that nut. Pisces Bobby, you win the award for making me have a good giggle today. Thank you. Pisces Bobby, you're saying that's how you eat corn on the cob. That's also how I eat corn on the cob as well. We call it millies here, but yeah, like that and around. Very, very cool. Well, thanks, squirrels. Sheila, you're asking, or you're saying he's eating so fast, and then you're asking, is that normal? Yeah, it's definitely normal. He's trying, because he's so little, and the longer he sits still, the more likely it is to be predated upon. And when he eats, he wants to eat really, really quickly so he can get it done. He also wants to eat really quickly so that he can finish that and then go on and find another one to eat as well. Or he might be like many of us where we only had 20 minutes for lunch when we were at school and have all picked up really bad habits of eating very, very quickly. All right, now as we come up to Chitwa Dam, I think let's head on over to Scott, who's driving around, and we'll have a look-see here and see if there's anything to take a gander at. And if we find anything, we'll see you just now.
Not too much to report here, still just driving around in circles, hoping that Tundi pops up. I think this is the 4th time we've driven this road this afternoon. And no joy just yet, but there is still time and she could poke her head out at any moment. So that's what we're hoping for. Also still keeping our eyes peeled for any yellow-billed hornbills in the hope that they call for us. Sounds like a wonderful sighting of that squirrel with Noel. I'm glad you got some great visuals there. Holly, you'd like to know whether Tundi's cub has still not been found. Well, we still haven't seen it, but we did find its tracks this morning, which means it is still alive. So, unless something gobbled it up between this morning and now. So, some wonderful news with regards to that. We were very excited when we saw the little cub's footprints following along the mom. Kaz, you'd like to know if Tundi and her cub will leave the Djuma area. There's a strong chance that yes, in the coming months they will spend less and less time on Djuma, because Tundi's territory does overlap into surrounding properties, and therefore once the cub becomes more mobile and kind of more worldly, it will be moved around a bit further. So we've been very, very lucky that she decided to den literally on the center of Djuma, where she was with that cub and her 2 kills was 100 yards away from our eastern boundary. So had that kill had been made 110 yards away, we wouldn't have known about it. So that gives you an idea of how close she was to exiting the property. Thankfully though, she's come straight back into the center, and this is literally where we had her tracks, and we are roughly in the center of Djuma now. But it is a reality that she could well vamos for periods of time, who knows how long, as the cub gets a bit bigger. So good you ask, because it's good to be prepared for that. We are not always going to have access to them, but hopefully when she moves out, another leopard will move in and fill the void. Not that she's moving out for good, but at the moment we've got her and her sister Shadow that kind of overlap onto Djuma. Tristan had the Ingrid Dam female the other night, who was scent marking on our south kind of western corner. Kuchava sometimes comes in on our southeastern corner. So there's enough leopard around to keep us busy. Finding them is often the problem. I'm almost certain that there's always a leopard on Djuma, but we don't necessarily know where it is. And that is what makes it tricky. Like now, I'm fairly confident Tundi and her cub are somewhere not too far away from here, but we don't know exactly where. I often think it's a miracle that we actually do keep up with them as much as we do. I mean, it helps greatly that we've got Herbie in our team now. When I left the sands years back, or a year and a half ago, we didn't have a full-time tracker, and it certainly, I think, is paying massive dividends having Herbie on site full-time. Amanda, you'd like to know how long will a leopard spend with its mother, or a cub spend with its mother? Oh, sorry, Cassandra. It depends on the mother, but usually anywhere between 12 and 18 months. Somewhere usually in between there is more of the average. But, you know, I've had a scenario where there was a 2-year-old male that was still lingering around home, and it would actually be left to babysit its younger siblings, a brother and a sister, that were 3 months old. It was 2 years old, and it would kind of keep following Mom's scent and her trail, because it knew full well that she was a better hunter than he was, and he used to cash in and share meals with his mother and his 2 younger siblings. We once had a sighting of 5 of them. The mother, the father, the older brother, and the 2 siblings. Epic stuff. So some strange things do happen, but ordinarily, yeah, anywhere between 12 and 18 months. But Shadow, for example, is notorious for booting her cubs at quite a young age, at around 12 months of age. So her current daughter now, not Barbara, could well be left to fend for herself fairly soon. And it's interesting that that specific female has developed that kind of a trait. What's further interesting on the topic of young leopards and when they need to leave the protection and care of their mother is the story of Shongile and Hosanna, a brother and a sister who were born to Tundi's mother, a leopard called Karula, who we presume is dead. She might not be, but she hasn't been seen for many a moon, so she could well not be around anymore. And she disappeared when I think they were just on a year of age, possibly even slightly younger. And they somehow managed to survive, eating tortoises, pulling catfish out of drying puddles, really making ends meet with whatever they could regarding food. So they did well to survive. Sadly, it seems like Shongile, the sister, may also no longer be around. She also hasn't been seen for quite a while, but she did survive for about 6 or 7 months after her mother died. Sundara, you were obviously on the Sunrise Safari and mentioned that there were some male leopard tracks. Those were called in by Tristan, and we never actually saw them. We were so focused on looking for Tundi that we never saw those male leopard tracks, and yeah, I cannot comment on that topic. But no, there hasn't been any further signs since I've been looking around. I'm told Tingana was somewhere in Chitwa camp on a kill, so he must have made a kill within the camp environs, which is not an area where he can take a game drive. So I think he's been camped out there for a few days. I'm not too sure if he's still there. And then there was a young male leopard, presumably Tamba, north of us on Buffelshoek, and I think Hosanna was located somewhere to the south of us. So those are three of the males that Manu, you are wondering about naming Tundi's cub and have mentioned that you like the name Rebel. I also like the name Rebel, however it's not very African, and the names of the leopards tend to be something in Shangaan, the local language. So sadly that'll just have to be our little name for it. Just gonna get picked up some extra cargo there, which we don't need. So yeah, Manu, I agree, but sadly it's not up to us to name the cubs, and I'm not too sure when that's all going to happen, but it'll happen sometime soon. We'll give it our own Safari Live name. It won't be an official name until it is independent. That is when they do get their name that will, in theory, stick with them for life. Wunderbar. Well, we're going to be making our way to the Treehouse Waterhole, which is close by, and on our way there we may as well send you back to Noel, who's still at the Chitwa Waterhole.
Alright everyone, we have a really fantastic surprise for you. We're at Chitwa Dam, we have a sunset, and we've got Ellie's, and Seb has some amazing maneuvers he wants to do with the drone. So the drone is just up here, so I think let's see what the drone can see. And we'll have our moment of silence now. How amazing was that? So our moments of silence are always fun, but a moment of silence with the drone and the sunset and the Ellies, it is a very good way to start wrapping up our drive. Now, Scott, I believe, is headed over to Treehouse Dam. We're going to leave Chitwa Dam for now, and we're going to go see what we can find along the way. Maybe check out the Mawati a little bit as we do that. And I'm still going to have a little look-see on the back side of the dam wall here for Hasana. And I think we might take the drone with us a little bit. Scotty D has Ellie's of his own. Let's head on over to him.
we do. Unfortunately, our timing wasn't very good because we arrived as the elephants have departed from a small waterhole. And we do have a lot of ellies around at the moment, so it'd be really interesting to have a better idea of exactly how far they move and how many are in the area at any given time, because they do move huge distances. And it must be said that just around every corner we've gone around today there's been fresh sign of elephants, so they're loving this area of the Greater Kruger National Park at the moment. On the topic of their movements, it would also be interesting to know exactly what's going on with rainfall throughout the Kruger Park. It's a very long, thin park that we are a part of, about 200 miles long by about 30 miles wide on average. And obviously, as it goes north-south, there's huge changes in climate and vegetation. So I wonder where the most lush area is at the moment. This spot's definitely looking drier than normal, but it's not as dry as a little bit further north of us, in and around the Timbervaties. Had hardly any rain this summer, but we've been a little bit more lucky here. Well, those two certainly didn't seem too perturbed about the drought, those little youngsters playing around. B. Wilson, you'd like to know if the end of February is the end of the kind of rainy season. I would say, yeah, February, March, maybe get a little bit in April, but it's, yeah, May, June, July, August, September are the dry months. So yeah, anywhere up to April we might get some rain, and I certainly hope we do, otherwise it's going to be a long and very dry and dusty winter. Eddie, you'd like to know if it's legal for guides to fish, and it all depends on whereabout you're guiding and whose land you're on. This is privately owned land in the Sabi Sands, so depending on your landowner's thoughts. Oh, a latecomer's coming down to drink. So depending on their thoughts and rules, that will obviously impact on what we as the guides are allowed to do. Where I used to work in the southern Sabi Sands, where our property had access to the Sand River, we used to take our guests fishing in the Sand River, catching mainly catfish, but the odd little tiger fish as well. So it can be done in the Sabi Sands, there's no rules against it, but again it does depend on the landowner. I do love fishing, Eddie, but sadly most of these puddles and ponds are so small and or have dried up in recent years that I don't think they are carrying any substantial catfish. And they're quite, not boring to catch, but it's quite simple fishing, catfishing, and those are the main fish that we do get in these little puddles. Paula, you'd like to know if elephants are ever tagged for research purposes. Not so much tagged, but they are collared with radio transmitters, and occasionally we do see elephants with collars on to track their movements. So it does happen, but not that often really. We don't see collared cows too often, and it's usually the cows that are collared. I haven't seen many collared bulls. It also happens up in Kenya quite a bit. Some of the elephants in the Mara have collars, and I think there are species that are fairly well kind of monitored. Alrighty, well, I'm going to say goodbye for the evening and send you across to Noel for the last few minutes of the safari.
Cheers, Scotty D. See you at home. Maybe you find Tandy along the way. Maybe we find Tandy along the way. We're just gonna meander off into the sunset. We've had such a lovely day, yet again. And there we've got that gorgeous drone shot of us meandering home and keeping our eyes open for any spotted cats that might be around. But you know, I love a leopard. We had today was very good, very, very good, and I'm really enjoying this drone as a little bit extra. I think it's super fun. I hope you all think it's super fun as well. Oh, and the temperature is so perfect right now. It's like a balmy summer's evening. All right, I'm checking in the marula trees. I'm checking on the side of the road. Maybe we get a last-minute leopard. Maybe Tingana pops up. All right, so with our last little bit of time, I want to remind everyone, because you know it's all so super exciting, that the 4th of February, 10 o'clock live in the United States on Nat Geo Wild, 10 o'clock p.m. that is, we are going to be live for our show after the big game. Then we're also going to be live on the 5th, the 6th, the 7th, and our last show will be on the 8th, at 10 o'clock Eastern. And we're going to be playing Safari Bingo, so go to natgeo.com/Safari Live for rules and regulations. The winner of Safari Bingo is going to win a trip to Africa to go on safari. It's really exciting. So thank you all for another wonderful day. We hope you enjoyed being with us out here in the African bush as much as we enjoyed having you along for the ride. So for myself and Seb and Scott and the Mara and FC, thank you so much. Enjoy your day. We'll see you tomorrow morning, 5:30.